Hi darlings, thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. Today I have a Bible journaling process for you here in my illustrating Bible. This is the Gospels edition, which has all 4 Gospels. And I'm going to be journaling here in Mark 12, in chapter 12, verses 28 through 34. And I'm going to be journaling about the greatest commandment that Jesus spoke about. I love that this devotional speaks about the greatest commandment, about loving each other and loving your neighbor, encouraging each other and building each other up. And I do want to get all 3 of those points that I drawed from the devotional here into my Bible. So I'm going to be using some swatches from the Faithful Digitals, the stamp set to build my houses. I also pulled out some Creative Retreat inks that I will link below for you. And I'm going to be using 1 Distress Oxide because I didn't have a Creative Retreat color to match that. I hope to have that soon. So I'm going to go ahead and put you fast forward and let's dig in. Okay, darling. So first I'm going to start off with my favorite technique, which is the smooshing technique. I'm going to be using the Distress Oxide ink Tumbled Glass. And this is like a baby blue sky color. And I wanted to just smoosh that ink into this packaging, spray it with my Distress sprayer, and add that color to the background. I dry off the first layer, and then I'm just going to do the same technique to add another layer of color. And then now it's going to pop up a lot more on my page. And it gives it a little bit more depth as well. So after drying that second layer off, I have my background ready to go. And then I'm going to start working on the second part. So I'm going to put my Bible to the side, let it dry off a little bit more. I get a scrap sheet of cardstock paper, and then I'm going to start working on basically stamping out the roof of the houses that I'll have on my page and also the doors. I wasn't sure if I was going to use just brown houses, rooftop, or blue ones. So I did a couple of them. I did 3 of them in the color Teddy Bear, which is a Creative Retreat color. I will link that below. And I also did a couple in the Planetarium color. I really loved both options, and I ended up using both types of roofs. And honestly, I love how these buildable houses turned out on my page. So after stamping out some of those roofs, I then switch off to the door. You saw there me just cleaning off my stamp with a baby wipe. I use baby wipes to clean off my stamps. They just seem to be the fastest way to get those cleaned up and back onto my stamp block. I do 3 of the teddy bear color doors, and then I do 2 of the blue ones. After I am done with that, I proceed to cut these out and fussy cut them. I'm not going to make you watch me do each one of these, but with the magic of editing, you'll see me at the end of this process. And then I will move on to the little houses. So bringing back my Bible so I can kind of gauge the scale of each one of the houses, I go ahead and look at the pattern paper that came with the Faithful Digitals. This is a sheet of 4 swatches of color. I'm using 3 of these on my Bible journaling today. I also wanted to point out that one of them is a grid, like a mustard grid, and if you didn't have the Faithful Digitals, you can actually use the washi tape to build behind the stamp, and that will create a beautiful background as well. I thought of maybe using that, but then thankfully this swatch was in the Faithful Digitals. So what I do is I take my houses and I take some liquid glue and I glue these on top of the swatches. One of them does have the windows going sideways, but I actually don't mind that at all, and you won't really notice it towards the end. So now I'm grabbing some of the cardstock stickers that come with the kit, and the whole point of having these houses here is I wanted them to house the 3 main points of this devotional that I grabbed on. I am journaling here in Mark chapter 12, and this is where Jesus talks about the greatest commandment. He is asked, what is the greatest commandment of them all? And he points back to loving the Lord with all your heart and all your mind and all your strength. And then he says, and the second one is to love your neighbor as yourself. And this is a theme throughout this devotional. One of them was to build each other up. The other one is to love your neighbor, and the other one is to encourage one another. And I love these three themes all connected together, because when we really look at what Jesus did, it was a lot of touching these main points. And with doing this, we honor Jesus, saying that this is the second greatest commandment. And he says that there are no other commandments that are greater than these. So here on screen, you saw me build a little house there. I cut down those swatches and I add my main points to each one of them. And then I'm going to add those to my page. You see me layer this on top of the other swatches just to make sure that I'm making these kind of the same length. I wanted them to not look exactly the same, but at least be comparable. That way, them being similar, they wouldn't look like they're weird or off center once I lay them on my page. I absolutely love how this polka dot pink one came out, and I also love how the one with the sideways windows came out. This is definitely something that you can blow up and put in your page. Maybe if you have an interleaf Bible, this would look really great in a big space like that as well. I'm using it here in my illustrating Bible, which gives me 4-inch margins, and I really loved putting these all together. So after I'm done putting all these little houses together, I then start to arrange them on my page. And so I'm not doing them in any specific order, just seeing what looks best. I end up putting the grid one at top, and then I grab the teddy bear ink just to really emphasize the ends of this grid paper. Since it was a white background, it was easily getting lost into the background. So this just really helped distress the edges and make it pop off. I'm going to go ahead and adhere these. And I also think about maybe adding a bottom piece. I've been using liquid glue in my Bible a lot more just because I feel like the tape runner tends to peel up after a couple of years. I'm using my acrylic block here to rest on top of the houses, just to put a little bit of weight on there as the glue dries up, even though this liquid glue does dry a little bit quicker. So here are all my houses put together, and just before I was going to glue down the next house, I remembered that I wanted to add a little bit of trees to just complete the scene. So here I'm going to grab one of the trees in a stamp set I had in my stash, and I'm going to grab the black onyx ink color, and I'm going to add that. I didn't want to add any more green or any more colors outside of this color palette because I thought it would overwhelm the page, and black actually worked beautifully. So using a post-it that I had on my desk, I mask off the houses and I add some trees. I then grab a different type of tree to use next to the house that says love your neighbor. I wanted a different tree, but I also wanted one that still looked similar, so I grabbed one that was a little fuller than the other one I had used. And so I'm going to also ink that up on a stamp block and stamp that onto my Bible first, and then I will layer the house over that. The last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and add some of these cardstock sticker numbers, and this is just going to outline the 3 points on my page. Build up one another, love your neighbor, and encourage each other. I grab my micro pen and I am just outlining this. This helps it pop off the page so it doesn't get lost. And then I'm going to grab some of the leftover swatch, that 4th color. I had used this on another video. I will link that as well below, that I did on my channel. And I'm going to use that as kind of the ground, and then this label to house my date stamp. After I add my date stamp here, I'm going to go over to my cardstock stickers again and grab a heart to add to this date stamp, as I usually do. And then I'll grab the one of the tabs that came with the cardstock stickers, a scrap piece of that pink polka dot just to bring some pink up to the top, and then I'll grab a baby blue and blue heart, and that'll finish up my cluster up at the top. That is it, darlings. I love how it turned out, and it actually came out better than expected. It was a little bit more tedious than I thought it was going to be, but I love the end results. I have my 3 main points from the devotional right here on this one page, and I love that I was able to kind of just bring that all together with 3 main points and have 1 page in this Bible that will represent the whole kit. So if you are new here, I hope you consider subscribing. I will link below everything that I have used. Thank you for joining me here on the Creative Retreat channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button so you don't miss any of the videos of the other girls on my team that are doing this month. Thank you so much for joining us each and every video here on the Creative Retreat channel. God bless. Bye.